Hey everyone, welcome to the Dental Office Managers Community Podcast, where we talk about the issues that matter most and help us to become better leaders in our dental practice. I'm your host, Kyle Summerford. Let's dive right in. Hey guys, it's Kyle, and welcome back to another episode of the Dental Office Managers Community Podcast. Today, I'm so excited to have Paul from Dental Menu on with us today. Paul, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Kyle. Excited to be part of the group.
Yeah. So you and I, we've spoke at a couple meetings. However, we connected at the most recent dental conference for office managers, and I learned a little bit more about Dental Menu and what you guys have to offer. And I thought it was such a unique service that you guys have, something that I haven't seen in quite a few years of being in dental. I wanted to bring you guys on into the group, and we worked out a sponsorship, a special deal with the members, which we'll get into later. Really tell me a little bit more about Dental Menu and let's share that with the audience.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, we're in the membership space. Membership plans aren't new. They've been around for a long time, but we do some things that are pretty different from other companies. Our kind of how we got started, Kyle, is we were doing marketing for offices. So, a lot of new patient generation and patients coming in, and most of the offices that we were working with had a membership plan. Again, they've been around for years and years and years, but we saw some problems with the way the membership plans are being ran, and they weren't really having the effect that they were supposed to have on the marketing, which is mainly on the retention, attracting and retaining these patients. And so we had clients that we knew, and we delved in for a couple of years. Actually, we worked with 20 office managers we knew really well, and we worked with them for a couple of years to really figure out what was needed. And then we built our software around a lot of feedback from dentists, hygienists, and office managers. And that's why our products is, I think, set up and unique because of that feedback.
Yeah, cool, man. I mean, I liked what I saw, and I think you guys have some really cool offerings. Why don't you share with the audience, maybe three things that make you guys unique as opposed to some of the other companies that are out there?
Yeah. So I'd say first thing that makes us unique is I like to talk a little bit about the difference between a discount plan and a membership plan. So if you think of like outside of dentistry, if you think of discounts, those would be like a coupon or a Groupon. So I'm in Utah. So if you came out here, Kyle, you said, "Hey, let's go skiing." If we want to buy a single day pass to a resort, we might try to find the best deal possible. Hey, where can we get a 2 for 1 or a better deal or 20% off or whatever? We're going to do a one-time purchase. We're going to go to that resort one time and then we're done. That's kind of what we see a lot with the quote unquote membership plans and really discount plans. 2 cleanings, 2 exams, set of x-rays, $400. Patient comes in, they got a treatment plan of $4,000. They can save 20% off. They can buy it for, this coupon Groupon for this set of services. They buy it for a year, but then they're kind of done. And maybe they buy it again, maybe they don't, but they're buying a set of services and getting a discount with a kind of a one-time purchase. And even if you're offering monthly payments, they're kind of paying off that Groupon. Versus if you look at a membership style plan, if you look at Netflix, you're paying every month to have access to the content, whether you turn the TV on or not. It's access to content, gym membership, access to the elliptical, the weights, the spa, whatever it is. And so our practices that work with us, we actually set up a membership plan where patients have access to an exam every 6 months, access to a cleaning every 6 months, rather than 2 cleanings a year, 2 exams a year. And so you're just running it more like a true membership continuity program, which obviously makes the practice a lot more money. But for an office manager, it's nice because you're not keeping track of, hey, did Kyle get his second cleaning? Did he get his two
Mhm.
cleanings? When
Yeah.
is he due for renewal? Oh, great. He comes in at month 13 and says, hey, I didn't get my second cleaning. It's like, well, but you're not active anymore. Yeah, but I bought 2 cleanings. I want my second one. So you're just running it differently. It's better for patients. They're not making a buying decision every year, and it's better for the practice because they're just letting it run and selling that access to care. So that's one thing that makes us unique. The second thing is what's going on in the practice management softwares and on the admin side is everybody's writing off or adjusting the exam cleaning x-rays on the collection
Yep.
side when services are used. The accounting's
Yeah.
a mess. And this is what we get the most from office managers is, hey, doctor told me to run a membership plan. What the blankety blank am I supposed to do with all the revenue? And
Yeah.
most of the time, if you're an office manager, the last thing you want is monthly options because now you're reconciling monthly payments and it's a mess. You're spending
Yeah.
all this extra time on the accounting side to have inaccurate accounting. Patient comes in, you adjust the exam cleaning x-rays off. Now your production collections don't match, your provider pay doesn't match, your KPIs don't match, your analytics don't match. And so
A
what
mess.
do? You say, hey, we need to have a very simple discount plan. You go back to the discount plan. I need to sell a simple discount plan for an annual amount because I can't manage it in my practice management software any more complex than that. So I don't care if it's worse for the patient. I don't care if it's worse for the practice. How the crap am I supposed to manage this thing? And so we help a lot with that. And then the third thing is just we're completely branded for the practice. So practices aren't giving us their membership plan. They're just using our tools to run their own membership plan. Patients are still charged from the practice. Patients are still buying a membership plan from the practice. We just have tools to help them with it. But you're not selling a dental menu plan. You're still selling your own plan. It's customized to your practice. Everything's tailored, very customizable. So it's set up for your practice. We're getting patients to pay you directly. We're totally invisible to patients. So those are kind of
Yeah.
three big differences.
Yeah, I love so one of the biggest concerns for office managers is like, how do I enter this? How do I write it off? How do I adjust it? So you
Yeah.
guys figured that out, which that's one of the key things that I learned about Dental Menu, and I thought was so unique because so many members, ask that question, like, hey, if we're going to run our own membership plan or discount plan, how do we adjust it? How do we make it so that the numbers make sense? So you guys
Yeah.
figured that out, which is awesome. Would you be able to maybe kind of give us like a little demo so that we can show some of the audience kind of like how Dental Menu looks and how it feels and how
Yeah.
easy it is to use?
Yeah. Let's do it real quick.
All right, cool.
Just run through here. All right. Can you see my screen okay there, Kyle?
Yep. Yep, everything looks good.
So this is a sample of a patient-facing landing page. So we build a page like this for each of our practices. What you charge, what you include is going to be obviously customized. Your logo is going to go here. It's going to be branded for you. One of the things we do that's very unique is if you want to handle the accounting side properly, the first thing you need to do is you need to actually attach reimbursements or amounts for included services on your plan. You basically decided to go and network with yourself. But
Huh.
so often, if you're going to go and network with an insurance company and they said this to you, Kyle, hey, look, we'll just kind of pay you once in a while, whatever, just adjust everything off. Like we'll just kind of do a rev share with you. And like you'll get some money from us every month. You'll just get a flat amount kind of, and just like, don't worry about it. And it's just, you'd never go and network with an insurance, but that's what you're doing with your own plan is kind of
Mm,
throwing a dart at a price point, figuring you're getting some money. You'll just kind of sweep everything under the rug, adjust everything off. Everything's fine. Well, you don't run a business that way. You shouldn't do it. So we look at all
yeah.
the UCR fees for included benefits, exam, x-rays, cleaning. We'll do an onboarding meeting for about an hour. But essentially, you should look at your your cleaning, your exam, your x-rays. What do you want to be paid for those services? You'll notice as I change the slider down here, it changes the amount you need to charge monthly and annually. So don't let, you know, the price point be the number one indicator. Look and see what you want to make, and then that's going to tell you what you need to charge. So we go through a pricing module. By the way, I'm happy to share this tool for free to any office managers. If they just ping you or they reach
Right.
out to me, even if you don't go with us, I'll give you this tool. You can play around with the pricing and you can adjust the pricing. And even if you still want to run it yourself or whatever, happy to share this tool. It's a great tool to see where you're coming in at. Use if you're charging $330, you can use that and kind of see, well, how would that break down for reimbursement, so to speak. So happy to share that tool. Once we
Awesome.
build all this out, we determine that we're going to build a landing page. So here's an example of an adult plan. Patient's going to get access to a cleaning every 6 months, access to exams every 6 months for $31 a month. If you want to do a rewards program, that's real popular to help patients stay on your plan long term. They get a cleaning on the plan. They earn $25 towards treatment that may be needed in the future as long as their plan stays active. That's going to keep people on it long term. It's going to increase treatment acceptance. Obviously, you'll set a discount on the treatment, fillings, root canals, crowns, things like that. That'll be up to you. You can have a cheaper price for additional members. You can set up a perio plan, access to the deep clean every 3 or 4 months instead of the healthy clean. You can have a child plan if you want for kids that are 12 and under.
Awesome.
So very flexible. We can set up senior discounts, all kinds of things. The other thing we can do that's very unique to the platform is we can create some add-on benefits where patients can customize their care plan. So
Hmm.
you want this price to be as low as possible to get as many people into your ecosystem onto your plan. A lot of offices include fluoride in their base plan, and you're welcome to do that if you want in our platform as well. But I'm telling you, Kyle, nobody buys your plan because it includes fluoride. Like you're just kind of giving it away. If you pill it out
Yeah.
as an add-on, now you have an upgrade path. Hey, Kyle, do you want fluoride? Well, how much does it cost? Well, it's $45. Well, what does it give me? Well, it does this and this and this. But if you want $3 a month, we can add it to your plan. Now you've bumped him up. You don't have to resell it to him every time he comes in.
Yeah, I like that.
We've got guys that do Botox, whitening, premier upgrades. I mean, whatever is unique to your practice, you want to sell in a subscription, we can set that up for you. Patients can add it if they want. They can kind of customize their plan to your practice. So very flexible. One of the other tips that I would give to office managers, if you are doing monthly amounts, a question I get on almost every demo is, what happens if they sign up, they pay $31 today, they get the exam cleaning x-rays, month 2, they stop paying me?
Mhm.
First thing to look at is that happens very rarely. We're seeing it happen about 3 times out of every 100 patients. So it's
Uh,
not as big of a deal. Second thing I'm going to tell you is every business outside of dentistry that offers monthly subscriptions, my company is one that does, you got to build that into your model. I don't get paid 100% of the time from every single dentist that signs up for our platform. You got a
mm,
few that don't work out. It's just how it is. So I could either be hypersensitive to my other 97% and charge them all kinds of crazy fees, or I
mm,
can be reasonable and just realize that's part of the business model and I'm going to win over time. Don't hyperventilate over that. It's just
yeah,
not worth it. If they're going to stiff you on a monthly amount, let them go to another doctor, another practice.
exactly.
That's not a good
I
patient.
agree. I agree.
The second thing, though, that we do is we recommend charging a one-time enrollment fee somewhere in the 25 to 149 range. Most of my guys are between 25 and 99. A lot of offices are doing a new patient exam cleaning x-ray special for, let's say, $99, and they're advertising that. You
Yeah.
get new patients in without insurance, they pay you $99, they do a service one time. Guess what the retention is on that? It's about a 10% retention rate over the course of 5 years for those types of offers. They don't
Wow.
stick. They come in one time. So what you want to do is say, hey, look, if you're willing to do an exam cleaning x-rays for $99, have that be your enrollment fee. That's going to cover your first initial exam cleaning x-rays. They're going to pay you $99, but they've signed up for your plan. They've gotten into your ecosystem. Now they're basically prepaying you $31 a month 6 times, and they're going to be eligible for services in 6 months, but you've already collected 6 times 31. You're not in arrears. They get the
Mm,
cleaning at 6 months, they prepay you again. And they're not eligible till they paid you for 6 more months. So if you handle the first exam cleaning x-rays, you're not financing your exam cleaning x-rays. You're charging $31 a month for access to care for as long as they're active with your Netflix gym membership, that kind of style. You don't have to worry about being behind from day one.
mm, cool.
So it's just
Awesome.
that's a good tip if you are going to do the monthly. So we'll build all this out. We'll have it connected to your site. Patients can sign up now. They're going to come in here. They're going to hit sign up. We'll build a brochure for you. It'll have a QR code on it. Patients can scan this to sign up as well. But we'll design a really nice custom brochure. Again, it's only going to have your branding on it. It has nothing to do with us. It's not co-branded, anything else. We've got a bunch of videos that we'll produce for you, announcement videos, social media posts,
Wow.
offer videos, all this good stuff, TV graphics. We'll get all that stuff. We'll build the landing page. They'll come in here to sign up. They'll enter their information in here. If we sign up Fred Flintstone here, we
Mm,
put his birth date here. We're just going to populate the plans here. So let's say he wants to come in every 6 months. He wants to add fluoride to his plan. When you add an additional member, if we put Barney in here, um, then what's going to happen is if we put in let's say we put in a senior birthday, if you guys want to build this in, a lot of seniors lose their benefits. He'd probably
yeah.
be a lot older than that. Barney's pretty old, but we can populate a senior discount as well, which is really nice. If you see a lot of kids or your peds office, we want a few different, tiers based on the birth dates. We can populate child plans as well based on that birth date. So
Cool.
it's very flexible depending on what they need. Let's say Barney here's got perio. We're going to grab a perio option. We can set up a 3 or 4 month perio protocol. Let's say he's got to come in every 3 months for perio. When you go to check out, it's going to create the cart. You can charge monthly, you can charge annually, you can charge semi-annually. We can turn any of these on or off. We find that the semi-annual and the monthly charges, when they auto charge, they're a lot better than the annual. When you charge annually, that renewal hits day 366. A lot of times they don't want to renew yet, and that's when you have the buy it for a year, they're off it for 3 or 6 months. Most people running their own plan that do an annual, their renewal process is simply like, Kyle got a second cleaning, we renew him when he comes back in. Well, that's usually month 18. So he spends $400. He gets coverage for 12 months, and then he doesn't do
Mm,
anything for 6 months. And then he comes back in and buys it again. He's kind of getting 18 months for the
right.
$400. So you're leaving money on the table there. But essentially, the cart gets created. There's that enrollment fee. Today's total is 141, and the monthly recurring that moves forward every single month is 91. Patient will enter their information, or maybe they're just handing this to front office, give them the credit card. They'll put their information in here. And then it's all PCI compliant. They'll put their credit card information in, and then away you go. So it's pretty slick from a sign up standpoint. They'll go into your ecosystem, and then I'll show kind of on the back end. But any questions you think or anything to point out here, Kyle, for your
No, I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. When I went over the demo with you, I really like this. I think one of the bigger concerns of some of our members is like, do we have to change our credit card processor, or how do we enter the payment, right? Like, I
yeah.
want to definitely get into that because I thought what you guys have is unique.
Yeah, great question. So we set up a merchant account for the practice. They'll own it with their EIN number, their business info. They'll run any of their treatment, fillings, crowns, root canals, or whatever. They're going to run through their regular system with the merchant account they're using currently. But we'll set up a new merchant account, and that's what's going to process these monthly amounts. The reason we set up a merchant account for those, our software is engineered around it, but the charge on the credit card statement from the patient will be from the practice, because that payment is going through that merchant account that they own. And that way they control the whole money flow, as well as we use it for some of our reporting in the back end, which I'll show you to make the accounting side work. So this is the software used to manage everything. We do have integrations with Dentrix, EagleSoft, Open Dental, Dentrix Ascend. There might be a couple others as well. But basically, when you look up your member, you come in here, and if we look up, you'd have all your members in here, and it's actually keeping track of, if we come in here, it looks like I've signed up Fred before. If you come in here and look up a member, it's going to actually show what services they're eligible for. So Fred's eligible for an exam, x-rays, cleaning, fluoride. Again, it's not 2 cleanings a year, it's access to care. Just like a dental insurance plan is kind of access to care. So you're eligible for these services. Here's the plan that he's on, the frequency of those benefits, and then here's everything to do with the account and the different plan members that are under here. So you can look at the payment settings here. You can update the credit card frequency. You can drill down in here. You can refund them if you want to, or do a partial refund. You got lots of control. The real magic behind this is when a patient receives services, normally what's happening is an accounting process. Anybody that's listening, you're probably doing an accounting process. There's variations to it, but you're probably doing something like this, where patient's making a monthly or annual payment. You're putting it somewhere on the ledger. Now they've got a credit balance. Some offices leave these credits and they just let them build, and then they apply that credit to the exam, cleaning, x-rays, which we've seen tons of problems with that because it's not a credit. They can't use it for fillings, crowns, root canals. They don't get a refund if they stop paying. You don't want to show it as a credit because you have all these credit balances sitting there. It's
Wow.
access to care. So then what you have to do is you have to create a fake 999 procedure code, some sort of membership plan procedure code. You got to apply that to the collections to bring this balance down to zero. Then the challenge is, as patient comes in, they get exam, cleaning, x-rays. It's like, is that their first one? Is it their second one? How do we attribute the revenue? So if they get those services, there's a balance created. Usually there's some sort of an adjustment for included services on the collection side. So now your collection production, it's not matching. Sometimes you're getting, hey, why is there so many Adjustments. Well, hey, that was the membership plan. You've got providers. Maybe an associate doctor isn't super happy, doesn't get credit for that exam on there. Maybe you have a
Yeah.
collections bonus as a team. You're not hitting that. If you're running dental intelligence, practice by numbers, Jarvis, any of those numbers are worthless because you're open, your operatory's open, you're paying your hygienist, but you're saying you didn't collect any money. Like, this is just terrible accounting.
An accounting nightmare. Yeah.
I've seen office managers, Kyle, get accused of fraud because
Oh,
like
wow.
you're adjusting things off. I've seen some office managers engaging in fraud. You know,
Wow.
you're running it this way, and all of a sudden the doctor, or the usually it's not the doctor, but it's usually the CPA later that's like, hey, we've got all these adjustments and cash isn't matching up. I think
Yeah.
Molly at the front is putting friends on there for free, or I think she's pulling money out. And
Oh,
you're not protected because you don't have sound accounting processes to show anything. You're just like, well, I don't know. These payments came in, we applied them, we adjusted things off. And so you
yeah.
can prove, but you've got to dig way in, and it's puts office managers in a bad spot.
Yeah. I agree.
Some office managers don't put the payments on the ledger, which is, I can see why, because it's a huge pain in the butt. If you have 100 patients and you're doing this 100 times, so they won't do this top section here, and all they do is adjust things off. That's when they really open themselves up to fraud because you have no paper trail. You had
Yeah.
Kyle come in, you're like, I don't know where, I don't even know where the revenue is. Doctor puts it in QuickBooks. I don't even see it. I
Yeah.
just adjust people off. They're, I don't know. They didn't get their second clean. I adjust them off. Like, it's just not good. So anyways, what happens is when a patient comes in, they receive services. They do an exam, cleaning x-rays. You walk them out of Dentrix. If you have the integration, our integration grabs all of that. It automatically updates the patient record here. I'm not
Mm,
connected to Dentrix, so I'll show you how to do it manually. If you're using like a real, weird one that we don't integrate with, maybe a Practice Works or something, you can still use the program. You come in here and you say, hey, Fred got an exam. He got x-rays. He got a cleaning. He didn't get fluoride. You log those benefits. You choose the hygienist that did the work, the doctor that did the exam. You hit submit. Now, what that does is it kicks the eligibility of benefits back out 6 more months. So it doesn't matter when they come in, 6.5 months, 7 months, 6 months, 8 days. You walk them out. It kicks the x-rays out a year, kicks the cleaning a year, kicks the exam a year. If you want to do an insurance verification, let's say Fred's coming in 3 months for some treatment, you jump in here, you're like, hey, let's see what's going on with Fred. You come in here, you can see that, hey, you know what? Fred's still active. He's paid through November 18th. He's eligible for fluoride. He's not eligible for these services till these dates. He earned 50 points because he got his cleaning. That gets added. There is a history of what was done and who did the work as well. So it keeps track of all of that, resets the benefit eligibility. Now, the real magic is on the back end, like we were talking about, Kyle. The best
yeah.
way to manage the revenue is running it like this. We set up a holding membership account for the practice. They own that money. It's their money. If they fire us, they still own it. This is just for accounting purposes. Patients making the monthly payments. Those are unearned revenue from an accounting standpoint, meaning you haven't seen the patient yet. So while it's not a credit, it doesn't make sense to record it as revenue either, because again, they haven't done exam cleaning x-rays. The example I used was they're prepaying you. So that
Yeah.
revenue sits in this account. Again, doctor owns it, but it's not hitting your operating bank account. So as the front office, guess what? You're not dealing with monthly payments. If you have 100 patients, you don't have 100 micro deposits hitting your account that you have to go in and figure out where they'll go on the ledger and all that crap. It's just accruing here. You're not dealing with monthly, annual, semi-annual payments at all, just sitting here. Now, when you
Yeah.
provide services, you walk a patient out, you do an exam, cleaning x-rays, you walk them out of Dentrix. Well, there is going to be a claim or a receivable that comes up in Dentrix. We will set this up as an insurance plan in Dentrix. These amounts that show up as a claim or a balance or receivable, they're the exact same amounts that you predetermined on the onboarding that you want to be paid for services. You decided what that claim amount's going to be, predetermined it. That's what we set up as the insurance plan. That's going to show up as a balance sitting here. Now,
Mm,
normally when you have a balance on an account, there's three things you can do. One is you don't collect and you write it off, like we already talked about, which is bad.
yep.
Two is you file an insurance claim from a third party and they pay you. Or three is the patient pays you. Well, the patient's not going to pay you because they've already been making their monthly payment, these quote unquote free services. They're not going to pay you. Two, you're not going to adjust them off because somebody's got to pay for those services. You need to match up. The third way is you file a claim to a third party. Well, in this case, you're going to file a claim basically to your own self. And all you do in the software when you're ready to clear out your claims is you come to this claims button. You hit the button right here. Anybody that's been walked out of Dentrix or Open Dental or EagleSoft, or you do manually, is going to show up right here. So we just did Fred manually. It looks like this office has, a total of $620. It'll just batch it. So you can do this at the end of every day. Or let's say Susie's in charge of it. She was on vacation for 3 days. It's just going to batch it till Susie comes back. This office has one from the 16th, one from the 17th, two from the 18th. So when you're ready to clear out your claims, I'll just do one right here. Maybe I'll do these two, $310. I want to be paid. You hit submit. And what that does is it pings this account automatically, and it'll send a payment from your operating account or from your holding account to your operating bank account. So you'd have revenue that gets transferred to your bank account, and then you're going to get a report that looks like an EOB that says, here's how much was deposited. This was the bank account amount. So the bank statement's going to show this. Here's the patient. Here's the service. Here's the provider. And then these are the amounts that you need to enter into the ledger to offset. So you're going to actually enter collections to offset production. So your bank statement deposit will match your collections, will match your production in Dentrix. You run a provider report for collection pay, it's in there. You run a report to see how things are looking, it's in there. You run Dental Intelligence, Jarvis, Practice by Numbers, it's in there. You don't do anything differently. Perfect. You're just running it. Your standard operating procedure is really clean, and all of your numbers match up. There's no fraud. There's no opening you up for fraud. It's really a clean way to do it, Kyle. And it allows you to sell a more robust plan without breaking your back end systems.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I mean, the details and the other way is definitely an accounting nightmare where, you're making adjustments, you're trying to do credits, and you don't know what to do. At some point, it just becomes, when was the patient last seen? Oh, let me check. Let me look back. Like, it's such a time killer also, you guys make it so simple. So that's kind of why I wanted to have you guys come into the group and, sponsor the group. And, I think it's great. I love it. Now, let me ask you, in terms of, um, hold on, I lost my thought. We'll cut this out.
Yeah, maybe a pricing, like a
Yeah.
deal.
Paul, in terms of, how much will this cost dental practices, right? So if an office manager says, hey, look, I want to get a membership plan started in our practice, what does it look like? What does the cost look like?
Yeah, and whether you want to get a new one started or you want to kind of take your existing plan and put it into using these tools, you definitely can do that. We've got two packages. We've got a standard and an advanced. Anybody that comes from your group, we've got a landing page with a promo code. We're doing $200 discount on this one-time fee. So there's a one-time fee. Your listeners would be $595 or $795 for the one-time fee. What that gives them is we're going to do the onboarding meeting, look at all their fees, help them through the pricing. We'll set up the software, we'll build the landing page, and then we're going to design and print 500 quantity of the brochures with the advanced package or 250 quantity with the standard. That's the big difference on the one-time fee, as well as with the advanced, we'll actually remote into your practice management software. We'll set everything up for you. Sometimes as an office manager, it's like, hey, doctor wants to do this. Now I got to set this up. I hope I set it up right to work with Dental Menu and to work with everything. Don't worry about that. We'll do everything. We'll set it up. Once that's all done, we send the brochures to print, then we will schedule another training with you, and we'll go through Dentrix and Dental Menu and make sure everything's working, make sure you guys are trained on how to do everything. So it's just a one-time fee, and then the ongoing fee is $4 per member per month or $3 per member per month. The big difference is with the ongoing fee is whether you want to do the accounting the standard way like you're currently doing, that's $3 per member. Or if you want to do the advanced accounting, that's $4 per member. Occasionally, I do have people, if you're like a scratch start or you're really small, you may want to run this method for a little while until you're a little bigger. The biggest con to this method here, the only reason you'd want to do the standard is if you're really tight on cash, Kyle, like let's say you're a scratch start, you're doing all your own hygiene, you have
Mm,
25 patients, it hurts to have your revenue sitting in a third account when you're like, I'm just
yeah.
trying to make payroll. Like, I'm trying to pay my office manager. I don't care
Stuff.
about the accounting. I just need money. So you may start out with this if you're really small. And then once you get a little bigger, almost everybody then transitions to this. But that's part of the reason we have that package is for, a little bit smaller office. And then we don't have any contracts. Everything's month to month. What we do on the onboarding is we will build the cost of the plan right here. We'll click that. So everything's patient paid. We'll build in the merchant service fees as well. So patient's going to get a singular charge on their credit card of $33 or whatever the amount is you've decided. We'll get our fee, processor will get their fee, and you're going to hit your profitability. So it's pretty minimal. I mean, you're going to pay $7.95 one time or $5.95 one time, and then everything else is kind of built in. The patient's going to pay it. The only other fee is if you want to do the practice management integration, it's an additional $79 a month. We have some license fees with Dentrix, EagleSoft, Open Dental, Dentrix Ascend. So if you want to add that, you can, and just automate some processes. Usually, if you have less than 50 members, most of my offices don't add it. Once you get into the 50, 75, 100, 200, then you might add it.
I was gonna ask, could we add that later, like initially once we get there? So
Yep.
that's good.
I usually
That's
recommend
awesome.
adding it later. If you've got 3 patients, there's very little to automate.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
save the money, get to where you have 2 grand a month coming in, and you can automate things later.
Yeah.
Automation's great, but you really just got to look at the cost benefit analysis and decide if it's worth it. And so, sure, you can add it whenever it makes sense.
Yeah. Cool. Cool, man. All right. Well, thanks for the special offer for the group. And that's awesome. I think a lot of our members are really gonna like this. Again, like, a lot of these questions come through sometimes where it's like, hey, I want to do my own membership plan, I want to do my own discount plan, and you guys definitely fill that need. So I'm glad to have you guys sponsoring the group and offering the special $200 off the setup for the 795 or the 995. And then, maybe Paul, could you share maybe 3 tips or one tip for some of the members out there that maybe thinking about leaning towards doing a membership plan? What is something they should keep in mind or look out for, or maybe
Yeah.
looking at other companies and demos? What's one thing they should know?
Yeah. So, I mean, 3 quick tips. One is do this for when your pricing plans out. Do not throw a price at pricing. Sorry. Yeah. Don't throw a dart at pricing, price at pricing. Figure out what you want to make so it makes sense. Give the patient a better deal than maybe what you're making on insurance, but make sure it's a better deal than your UCRs. Otherwise, why would they ever buy your plan? So have confidence in why you priced your plan a certain way. That's tip number one. Tip number two would be to consider, if you are doing monthly amounts, consider doing an enrollment fee so you don't feel like you're financing those exam cleaning x-rays. And then if you are looking at different softwares to run your program, a lot of them claim to be white label branded for you, and they may brand your landing page, they may brand your brochures, but a lot of them are still collecting the revenue from the patient. So they'll see a patient from a third party charge, they control the revenue, they remit it back to you, which means you're kind of going quasi insurance. You're giving all your patients to a third party platform. I would be really careful to not do that. And then, I mean, my tip number 4 would be embrace the practice management software when you're running your accounting and running your plan. When you can run it as an insurance plan in your practice management software and embrace the way that the Dentrix or EagleSoft or Open Dental is set up, that works a whole lot better than always doing some sideshow thing that never really fits in. Because when it
Yeah.
doesn't fit in, you've got to run extra reports for provider pay. You got to run extra reports to see if you're profitable. You got to run extra reports to see what's going on with the admin side and who's active and who's not. Like, get away from that and just run it better in the practice management software so that you can be happier and have more time and not have it be such a pain in your butt. So those would be, I know that was 4, Kyle, but I went quick. Those are the tips I would give
Okay.
for
That's
offices.
all right. We appreciate the tips. So Paul, thanks again for coming on here, and thanks for joining our community. To our members out there, Paul from Dental Menu was able to put together a special discount for anyone in the group who would like to sign up. I'm going to share the special link at the bottom of this video. So any of our audience members out there, dental office managers, If you're interested, definitely click that link, reach out to Paul at Dental Menu, and they're going to take care of you guys and make sure that you get a hold of your membership plan. And, we just keep our patients happy, and of course the doctor, right? So Paul, thanks again so much for coming on, and really appreciate you, taking the time out today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Kyle. Excited to work with your members. And like I say, we're real open with our info. You want to chat, we'll give you ideas, and you want the pricing tool or you want to look at stuff. We really want to help you, even if you don't become a client of ours. We'd still love to just chat and help you out any way we can.
Cool. All right, Paul, thanks a lot. And guys, I will talk to you later. Bye.